What's up everyone? Thanks so much for coming back to Alba Studios YouTube channel. We're super stoked that you're back. We are continuing with the Art and Design 101 series. Blocking in a muscle car. Can a beginner artist draw a 67 Camaro? Yes! If you have not checked out the first 2 lessons in this series though, please subscribe so you can catch up and be ready for the next class. In this class though, we will learn helpful art hacks, techniques to draw a super cool Camaro. What? I am a beginner and cars are hard, I know, but these tips will help you study and draw any subject, almost, and that it's smart to draw basic shapes first and details later. This class can be divided into 3 sections. 1, easy tracing warm-ups. Number 2, how to block in. And 3, a bonus hack, woohoo! But you have to wait till the end. And the only materials you need, guys, is some paper, various prints of your favorite card, and a pen or a marker and a pencil. So something bold and something for erasing, and then an eraser. So using any unwanted prints, magazines, ads, or using tracing paper over a print that you are keeping, loosely trace away. I thought that starting with a Hot Wheels car might be less intimidating than a real car. Perhaps psychologically it's less stressful to draw a toy. Either way, use short straight strokes, curves, or continuous lines. Just sketch away. You might be thinking, well, you're just tracing. I know, but we are tracing to help us familiarize ourselves with the subject. Kind of like this. Even sketching out the geometric shapes that make up a car is a good practice for warm-ups. You can see what basic shapes make up a car. Just be loose and warm up. Let's get our hands, arms, and eyes to coordinate. And tracing has a bad rap, and it should if we were literally copying someone else's work, but sometimes it is useful, like when tracing our own sketches or for warm-ups like these. Tracing will help us get a feel for our tools and subject, and some of us might be tracing a car for the first time ever. It's actually pretty liberating because we don't even have to get it right. Just explore the subject, establish the bigger shapes, the angles and lines, interact with it. This is very different from just casually looking at a subject. This is more interactive. And it looks like I'm spending a lot of time on details, and I am, since I am also kind of new at drawing cars, but I am also observing the basic shapes of the car as I trace. I notice how angles change proportions and how different parts of the car align with each other, but it's okay, we're not worried about how things look right now. If you're working with just straight strokes, it's kind of a cool practice to achieve round edges that way, and you might think, how can I get round edges from straight lines? But for example, as shown here with this sketch, when you start with a few straight lines, followed by smaller straight lines at various angles, eventually these lines together define the curvy parts. So even a square with enough lines helps attain a near perfect circle. Other times though, like in the case of smaller tires, we can make light repetitive semicircles to define the round form. We will use all of these methods for our project, so let's try them all and build our muscle memory and improve our hand and eye coordination and even develop our style. We can do some practice strokes hovering above the paper a few times and then drop the ink when we feel more confident of the stroke that we're about to make. Getting good at drawing is hard, but the more we practice, the better we get. It sounds obvious, but sometimes the obvious needs to be stated. It's a little bit like riding a bike, as cliche as that sounds, but at first we freaked out over every detail and we death gripped the handlebars and we were hyper aware of our own moves and we couldn't even look around and enjoy the ride. But after some practice, we were riding with one or no hands, we were eating, talking, kicking something, even doing tricks on the dang bike. And finally we enjoyed the scenery after that. The same can be done with this art thing if we keep at it. But what are your thoughts? That's pretty much it for the easy tracing warm-ups. It just takes a couple minutes. Now we'll go on to blocking in our Camaro. Many of us likely think of these when we hear the word block. For many generations, totally back to kindergarten for these toys. We put them together to make buildings, people, and cars. Thinking 3-dimensionally this way is an advantage to learning art, and for the purpose of this lesson, we will define blocking in as the placement of general shapes and proportions of a composition onto our canvas, in this case a paper. Yeah, let me know which car you all picked. I picked this 67 Black Panther in its natural setting. Whoa, Black Panther Camaro that is. Only 3 of its kind left. And I chose an image with straight side shot, no funky angles, just keep it simple for this series. No, it's not mine. I wish. Moving on, there are a few advanced techniques to make a very accurate rendering of a car, but I do believe we can make a pretty impressive version of this car just using a few geometric shapes and a little chiseling away. The simplest geometric shapes I can think of to start this car are 2 rectangles and 2 circles. Most subjects, by the way, can easily be broken down into simple geometric shapes, so use this technique for almost anything. We will not be tracing, but rather only using the original for reference points. Please use something erasable, even though you see me use a marker. I do this so you can easily see the markings on the video, but typically we'd start with light sketches and then the marker. This way you can erase the lines that will not be part of the final drawing. So let's mark the highest, lowest, and widest parts of the bottom of our car, the highest, lowest, and widest parts of the top of the car, and the highest, lowest, and widest parts of the tires. If you don't have a light box or tracing paper, you can use your sunniest window, or you can listen to the end of this class where I will show you my little shortcut for this. At this point, I had not noticed that I missed marking the lowest part of the top rectangle, so you'll see me go back and grab that. Now we will use these reference points to draw our geometric shapes as guides. I am drawing these freehand, but feel free to use a ruler if you wish. We'll sketch the long rectangle we plotted for the bottom part of the car, the smaller one for the top, and the 2 circles for the perimeter of each tire we see. Here I go back to plot the one part that I had missed, grab it, sketch it up, and complete the 4 basic erasable shapes we'll work with to make one bigger, more complicated shape, our Camaro. Camaros, plural actually, because the way I choose to do this, I'm using one outline to produce many, so just watch. Our pencil outline should look something like this. Now, using the original as a reference and like a sculptor chisel away his or her clay, we can use those straight lines again at various angles to chip off the negative spaces that do not make up part of the car. So in essence, we are making new lines within the boundaries of the rectangles to reflect the shape that we see in the original. So we're sketching out lines to make the true shape of the car with the angles of the windows and the front and tail ends. So just keep whittling it down from the basic shape to a more refined shape. Make small points for reference if needed. We're building on our skills, so it's okay. We compare angles and heights of things, and we slowly define the make and model of our car one stroke at a time. A lot is going on in our brain to develop these skills. The more we practice comparing our reference photo to our drawing and making adjustments, the more we advance our skills. So just continue doing this. There's a lot going on a voluptuous car like this, so do your best and you can make it your own. You could change the lines of the car. You could make it a unique car. Finally, we trace a darker outline, making it easier to scan or retrace and do variations on this, which is what I'm going to be doing. Perhaps this project is a little tough for a beginner, but also I believe most of us can pull off drawing basic shapes and slowly chiseling down from there. So even if you don't consider yourself an artist, you can learn skills and make great projects a bit at a time, right? So back to our drawing, it is not our final project, but it is our template. We can use this to make more, or we can go ahead and elaborate on this one. For my basic outline, I choose to print it out a few times and just mess around. Here are a few quick variations of mine so far, including one of my first digital patterns that I made a while ago, and another one you may recognize from the thumbnail for this very video. You can play with shading, details, hatching, use different mediums like charcoal, watercolors, ink over with dots for the pointillism type of effect. But back to you, maybe you'll add some quick background scenes or exaggerate the body shape, that'd be fun, or scan it into your computer to finish designing digitally in literally a million other ways. So many paths, but choose 1 or 2 ways to start. Let me know what you are learning. Congratulations on your effort, and coming up is that bonus that I mentioned. Have fun and share with others any good things that you learn. I promised to show you a bonus hack, and here it is. This is how I set up my tracing situation when I was considering purchasing a light box a while back. Being the ever so resourceful individual, I came up with this instead. I know not everyone has a glass desk, but really any clear or translucent sturdy material that you can sketch on and light up from underneath can do the trick. Here I place a light under my desk and voila, what do you think? Congratulations picking up these simple tools. They can really help build confidence in the beginner intermediate artist, and with good reason, because art can be a challenge, but good things usually are. So don't complain, and props to you for drawing a car and building basic art skills, building muscle memory and hand and eye coordination. The more we learn and do, the better we get. Stay inquisitive and disciplined to reach your art goals, guys. Here's what we learned today. 1, easy tracing warm-ups just to get familiar with our subject. 2, we learned how to block in with basic shapes and learn that most things are made up of basic shapes put together. And 3, we learned a bonus hack to help us slide up our work area. And we drew a car. That's quite an accomplishment. Thank you guys. Please comment and subscribe for more. I love to listen to your comments because it will help develop the next classes. And stay tuned for the new series coming up. And thanks for the music at Ryan Thaxter Dub. Peace.